Hi and welcome to Literary Hype. I am Stephanie, your literary hype woman, and I am back from New York Comic Con with a lot of books. A lot. Like 3 suitcases. I have a problem. I told myself and my husband that I was not gonna go very hard this year at New York Comic Con. I'm like, clearly I have a ton of books. I don't need all of them. But there's just something about being in the Javits Center at New York Comic Con that it just washes over you and fills you with a competitive spirit to go gather books. And I even saw this with a brand new con goer, Brad bought a book, where on the first day he was with us running around. He was like, and then he realized, I'm not gonna read half of these, so I need to calm down. At least I like to give books away, so that's my plan with some of the ones that I'm probably not going to get to, but there are quite a few in here that I am very excited about. So let's get to my New York Comic Con haul. But before we get to the actual haul of what I gathered at New York Comic Con, I gotta show you what I took with me for signings, because that does still play into my suitcase situation. So starting with the books that I took with me to get signed and did not get signed. These are my fail whales that I had to then carry around unsigned and purposeless in my bag. I took Emmett by C.L. Rosen over to get signed, and he'd already left. So, I mean, I got there like 20 minutes after the signing started, so that is on me, but also like 20 minutes. That's a bummer. So, Emmett did not get signed. I heard that Amele Wenzhou was not also there, and I'm probably butchering her name. My bad. So I took this with me to get signed, The Scorpion and the Night Blossom. I heard she was canceling last minute, so I didn't actually end up taking it. Actually, I think I did end up taking it because it got a little banged up. I took it just in case, but I didn't ever make it over there because I heard she wasn't going to be there, so. New York Comic Con does this thing where you can reserve your spot in a signing line. And the thing is I go as a panelist to this convention this year, and panelists are not allowed to make reservations. So I took a couple books in hopes of like sliding in, and that didn't happen. Being Lauren Roberts, so I took my copy of Fearless and Fearful. I probably could have gone and waited in the standby line, but at that point in the night I was exhausted. Another author who had a reservation line was Matt Dinneman. I took a copy of Dungeon Crawler Carl to get signed. He also did a signing where you buy a book to get a ticket, but that interfered with something else that I was doing. So I was like, I can't make somebody do this for me, so I didn't buy the ticket. And I regret that because they gave out ARCs of Operation Bounce House. So I'm very sad with myself that not only did this not get signed, and now I'm gonna need to take it to another city, because I believe he's gonna be in Seattle, but I didn't get the ARC. Not that I need another one, I know, but also sadness. And now here's a look at what I took with me to get signed and was successful in it. Shout out to Leonard for getting me a wristband for the Tessa Bailey signing, so I was able to run over and get all 3 of my Big Shot books. Picture Perfect was the first one I didn't get an ARC of, which is kind of fun, but that means I do have the fun sprayed edges on it, so this is now signed, as well as my ARCs of Dream Girl Drama and the Au Pair Affair. I got my ARC of That Time I Got Drunk and Saved the Demon signed by Kimberly Lemming. S.T. Gibson was there and did one of the late night signings, so I got my copy of A Dowry of Blood signed. I did a panel with Travis Baldry, which was so much fun. Travis is excellent at Battle of the Tropes, and so after the panel I got my copy of Brigands and Bread Knives signed. This is an ARC. They did end up giving away a lot of these ARCs, so there's going to be a lot of these signed and floating around now. If you've been around for a while, you know that I have my weirdo bougie collection of first copies that the authors have signed, and so I did add to that, and I did it with someone who's pretty special. Len Vlahos is the head of the literary stuff for New York Comic Con, and I got an ARC of his upcoming book, The Story of Oog, A New Thinker's Guide to the Forest. And so I took it over and surprised him with that, and so he did sign it. And then when we were talking another day, he was like, wait, that was the first time I signed that book. So very special to add Len's book to my collection. I got my ARC of Zodiac Legacy by Katie Zhao signed. I do have her first book signed, so that's really nice, except for the first one is not an ARC, and it's a hardcover with custom sprayed edges, so now I need to get another one of these and get the edges custom done so that they can match. If you've seen my TBR game videos, then you know that I said I was going to try to get my copy of The Secrets of the Blue Hand Girl signed, and that the author, Roanna Miller, did comment on those videos and say that she would love to sign it. Her signing, however, was at a time that I was doing a panel, because I ended up picking up a panel last minute. And so we decided to do an interview because that's even better. So Rowena did sign this when we did the interview, so look out for a conversation about Secrets of the Blue Hand Girls coming soon. I got my copy of To Clutch a Razor by Veronica Roth signed. Now it's signed. Now it can go with the rest of her books because I have all of her books signed. Another one of the late night signings that I went to was for Erin A. Craig, and so I got my Arc of the 13th Child signed, and when she did, she gave me 2 envelopes, which she said include recipes, so when you get to things in the book, you can make the food. And I think that's pretty awesome. Maggie Stiefvater was at New York Comic Con, so I got my Arc of the graphic novel of the Raven Boys signed, as well as my Arc of the Listeners. C.L. Herman and Amanda Foody were at New York Comic Con, so I got my Arc of A Fate So Cold signed. Tor sent me a copy of Silver and Lead by Seanan McGuire, so I had to go get that signed. Usually when I go see Seanan McGuire at a Comic Con, it's because my coworkers have sent me their books to get signed, because I have 2 coworkers who are very much so obsessed with Seanan McGuire's books. So it was kind of nice to get something signed for myself this time. Naomi Novik was there signing, so I ran over and got my Arc of the Summer War signed. Ava Reed was there, so after many, many times of taking my Arc of Lady Macbeth around the country, I finally succeeded in getting it signed. I think I've taken this to like 4 or 5 different events, and something happened every single time. Most of them that she ended up not coming or not signing or something. Finally happened. But also, I got my Arc of Fable for the End of the World signed, and that's on Also Stay Tuned. Alex Astor was there signing, and so I went over to the line, and it was really long, and I didn't have time. But someone was in the line who recognized me and said that they were coming to my panel, so she got it signed for me. I believe her name's Ari, if I'm remembering correctly. If I'm not, I'm so sorry. But she got my Arc of Summer in the City signed. Ashley Shoemaker was also signing in the Penguin Random House booth, so I popped over during her signing time and got my Arc signed. And one of the books I was most excited to get signed is that Ann M. Martin, the writer of the Babysitters Club, was at New York Comic Con. And so it was a wristbanded situation, which I'll get to what the giveaway was, but I also was like, hi, I have a book, can I also get this signed? And she did. So this is a first printing of book number 6 from 1987, which is before I was born, so don't go calling me old. I'm not that old. Barely. So that's all the books I took with me to get signed. I planned to take another one and got in line and then realized that I did not have the book and thought it must have been still in the Airbnb. Turns out I just didn't pack it because it was in my TBR pile. Sadness. But now onto the fun stuff. So it just mentioned that Anna Martin was there signing and doing a giveaway of the book. So they gave us a copy of book number 1, Christie's Great Idea. And so she signed these. This is a repackage with a new cover on it that kind of goes more with the graphic novel vibes, because those are doing quite well. And the third thing that Anna Martin did sign is this poster from the Babysitters Club that they were giving out. And later in the day they did have someone from the graphic novel side of things signing and giving away. So this is Claudia and the New Girl, and this is the graphic novel edition signed by Gabriella Epstein. Now let's get to the stuff that I got for free at New York Comic Con. And I'm gonna start with one that I've already touched on, and that is the Penguin Random House booth's ticketed giveaway and signings. So how those work is first thing in the morning, you go to their booth and they give you a ticket. This year they let us pick 2. So we got to pick 2 tickets for the entire day and then come back at their designated time to get the free book and have the author sign them. So I did 2 a day, and this is what I got. I got a copy of Sheepdogs by Elliot Ackerman. This Will Only Hurt for a Moment by Delilah Dawson, friend of Literary Hype podcast. I got Abducted by Aliens and Now I'm Trapped in a Rom-Com by Kimberly Lemming. Roll for Romance by Lenora Woods. The Last Tiger by Julia Ryu. She also wrote this with her brother Brad, and he was not there to sign, which is kind of funny because I had a ticket to get the arc of this at Y'all West, but I had to go to an interview, and so I sent my friend, and she got lost because I told her the wrong building to go to, and she was very confused. So she ended up not getting the arc signed, and so I told Julie about it, and she's like, well, that's fine, because now you've got the pretty one. Look at the pages. It's so pretty. Rachel Harrison was there for her brand new book, Play Nice, and so she signed this. She wrote Don't over Play Nice, and I was like, ooh, I like that. And she's like, then you're gonna love this book. And so I'm very excited to dive in. And I got a copy of Parks and Rec, the underdog TV show that literally inspired a vision for Better America by Jennifer Keishan Armstrong. She also wrote a Mean Girls book, and I enjoyed that one, so I'm really looking forward to this. And while we're talking about Penguin Random House, we're also going to talk about the Book Oracle. But before I talk about the books I got at the Oracle, I've got a bone to pick with y'all. And that is, can y'all be nicer? I don't know what was in the air at New York this year, but there was a lot of rudeness going on, a lot of pushing, a lot of shoving, and these poor people that are working this booth and trying to be nice to us and give us free things were getting yelled at and grumped at and just emotionally destroyed. So I heard from 2 separate booth workers that I adore that this con broke them. And that just breaks my heart. So if you're going to a convention to get books, be freaking nice to the people doing it. Do not get crabby. You are not entitled to a free book, so don't act like it. I don't care how many followers you have, you are not entitled to a free book. You can wait in line like everybody else, you can follow the rules like everybody else, and then everybody's gonna have a good time. Because now they're gonna change the rules of the Oracle. And that's unfortunate, it's going to be a lot stricter, so just, if you're going to a con in 2026, know that things are gonna be changing from how things worked in 2025. So yeah, be nice. It's really not that hard, guys. End rant. So how the Oracle worked this year, which it no longer will be working the same way, they're going to change things, is that you get in line and you take a quiz. They've got it set up so you can take it online ahead of time and just show them your results, or you can take it on an iPad at the counter. This quiz puts you into one of like 5 or 6 courts, and then you get a book that's based on that vibe. So that includes like the Court of Nightmares, the Court of Wits, the Court of Scholars, the Court of Dreams. Did I say Warriors? Nightmares? I don't know. There's a bunch. So you got a bunch of different options, and each one for this show had different books. They had multiple books per court to kind of help things get going, and they would switch them out periodically. I ended up with 6 of the Oracle books, and I'll tell you how. So Detour was one of those Oracle books. This was for the Court of Warriors. However, I did not get it through the Oracle. They did a ticketed signing with both of the authors, Bob Hart and Jeff Rake, the creator of Manifest. So I got the book through there, but a lot of other people did get it through the Oracle. I did get a copy of A Widow's Charm, which was an Oracle book. I don't know which court it was for, but my friend got 2 of them, so I did make a trade to get this one, and that is how I ended up with 6 of the Oracle books. The other 4 are actually from the Oracle. The first one I got was Inamorata by Ava Reed. This was from the Court of Nightmares, and everybody, when word got out that that was the book, everybody ran over there to try to get in it, and so I did do that one first, and since I got this before she was doing her signing, it is signed. I don't remember if this next one was Court of Wits or Warriors, but whatever. The point is that I got an arc of The Fox and the Devil by Kirsten White. For the Court of Dreams, I got The Elsewhere Express by Samantha Soto Yambaro. This cover is absolutely gorgeous, so I was like, I don't even know what it is, but it's pretty and I must have it, so I succeeded. And the last book that I got from the Oracle is The Book of Blood and Roses by Annie Summerlee. I mentioned in passing to one of the booth workers that I was trying to get it, and she was like, oh my god, it's so good. So that made me very excited. But yes, I need this. I am so excited that I got this one. While we're rolling with Penguin Random House, I'm going to get all the Penguin Random House things out of the way, and that includes one of their code word giveaways. And so this was from the audio team. If you said, hear the fear, first thing in the morning, then you would win this box. So this is the box. It says Hear the Fear on it. And inside is a whole bunch of goodies. There are 6 audiobook codes for like Lila Sage's Soul Searching, Remain by M. Night Shyamalan and Nicholas Sparks, If the Dead Belong Here, Showstopper, And the River Drags Her Down, and Where Nightmares Live. So there's a whole bunch of audiobook codes, as is appropriate for an audiobook box. There are also some spooky stickers, some bat stickers. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with these. A bag of spooky bats and cat sour gummy candies, which I cannot wait to eat. And the reason I was trying to get this in the first place is Sony headphones. Yellow over-the-ear headphones. So these are super cute. I'm really excited about them. And that box helped me get my poster home safely without it getting messed up. So double bonus. But that was not all of the code words at Penguin Random House. No. If you said the word black in the kids book area, then they gave you an arc of Better in Black by Cassandra Clare. And while I was standing there, they said, oh yeah, there's some arcs on the end of this if you would like them. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll get some of those. And then they handed me one of each. So some people didn't get all of them, but I got all 3, and that includes Sibylline by Melissa De La Cruz, The Escape Game by Marissa Meyer and Tamara Moss, and Her Hidden Fire by Clodna O'Sullivan. I have no idea how to say this name. I am so sorry. But this was also over there. Another code word that was running every day of the convention was to go over to the giveaway table and say, "I hear you're selling enchanted cats." And they would say, "It's only a rumor," and then hand you a copy of Agnes Albert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett. This is an ARC. She's the one who wrote Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia for Fairies. And since I was actually the first one on day one, and so they gave me a friendship bracelet as well. This is Amie de Schatz, which I have been told is friend of cats in another language. At that same table, you could get a ticket for the Geo-Magician's Dig. So I got a ticket on the first day and then realized that the dig itself that you had to come back for was during my panel. So one of my friends that was not going to my panel, which totally understand because it was up against a lot of really good things. The scheduling was not very nice to me, but it's fine because we still had a full room. But anyway, so my friend went to do the Geo-Magician's Dig for me and did get the book for me. It is The Geo-Magician by Jennifer Mandula. And then a book from Penguin Random House area that I don't remember. I don't remember how I got it. I don't remember. It's a lot. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. But The Knight and Her Emperor. This is a graphic novel that comes out in February. So I am definitely going to be checking that out. I love a good graphic novel. And last but not least from Penguin Random House is their daily giveaways. So they had on their website a list of giveaways at their booth, and you would go 30 minutes early to get a ticket and then come back later and get the actual book. The ones I got from that are Super Nintendo by Keza McDonald, which seems like a good fun time. The Whistler by Nick Medina. And one was a Choose Your Own Lavelle giveaway. So they had a bunch of books by the author, Victor Lavelle. And I knew nothing of him. One of my friends from the line said that they're really good books. And so when people were looking at it, I was like, "Which one's your favorite?" And she was like, "This one." And I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna trust you." And she's like, "You're gonna trust me?" So yes, I trusted the people who have read the books and work in the booth. So I got Lone Women. Now that I've gotten all the Penguin Random House out of the way, let's switch booths and go to Simon. Simon is one that I love. They are consistently they keep their booths on track. Like when they say something is gonna happen at a certain time, they mean it. Which means you need to follow the rules. Again, people being mean at them for not following the rules. They were following them, you were not. I watched it happen, so I don't feel sorry for you. On the adult side of the Simon book were a couple different things. So they had ticketed giveaways and code word giveaways. So the ticketed ones, you would come to the booth 20 minutes before and not earlier. If you got there earlier, they would make you go to the end of the line because the rule is 20 minutes, the end. So 20 minutes before the book was dropped, they would give you a ticket and then you could come back at any point up until an hour before the close of show for the day. So that gave you plenty of time to come back. So among the ones that I got in that fashion were Homebound by Portilla Ellen, How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates by Shaylee Thompson, which looks so much fun. I'm really excited about that one. And Haunting the Hunter, which is a paranormal romance by Hannah Harp. And it is also the first physical book from Simon Maverick, so I'm very excited about that. And another ARC that I got through a ticketed signing at Simon was The Heartless One by Emma Hamm. Those were the only ticketed ones I tried for, because I was trying to behave. I was trying to be good. And they also had several code word drops. So if you followed the authors on Instagram or Blue Sky or various other social platforms, they would post a code word throughout the day, and then the first 2 people to the booth to whisper the code word. Whispering is important, especially at Simon. Then you would get an ARC of the book. There were 2 that I was trying to get. One was Year of the Mare, which I did not get for reasons. I'm probably still going to end up getting a copy down the road. But I did get the code word for Rebecca Robinson's sequel. This is the Dark Inheritance Trilogy Book 2. Book 1 is The Serpent and the Wolf. And so I was very excited to get this. I sprinted. As soon as I saw it, I ran. And I barely made it. So, whew. Simon Teen was on the other side of the booth and they had a whole bunch of giveaways. They did some at the show open, so as soon as people started running in, they were giving out books. Except for one day they did have to make us wait because the BookCon line was blocking them. So we did have to wait a little bit to make that happen and get people out of the way. But there was a whole lot of books from the opening line, and then they would do a couple drops throughout the day elsewhere. So I got The Danger of Small Things by Carol Lewis, Beth is Dead by Katie Bernay, The Aftermath by Tracy Wolff, Girl of Lore by Melanie Dale, The Trader Moth by Catherine Orton, a hardcover with the sprayed edges, it's so shiny, of The Underwild River of Spirits by Shanna Targaz, and an arc of Devious Prey by Scott Redigan. A true predator cannot be contained. Another booth that I ran to first thing every morning in my loop around the convention floor was the Hachette booth, because they were doing giveaways at first thing in the morning. On day one, the first thing I did at the Hachette booth was utter the code word. If you said Love is a Rebellion, then you got a copy of Aicha, but I have no idea how to say any of this, by Soraya Bouazoui. I'm so sorry. I'm not good at names. It is established. But this was an arc that you got from the code word. She posted on social media. Thankfully, on day one, she posted it like 6 o'clock in the morning, so we all knew and knew to run. So I managed to secure the goods. There were a few of them every day available. On day one, they were giving out early copies of Honey in Her Veins by Ruth McCall, which one of my friends at the booth said, oh, you'll like this one. So I have high hopes for this. They gave out The Fox Hunt by Caitlin Breeze. They gave me an arc of The Curse of Shadow and Ice by Catherine Mara, which is a Beauty and the Beast romantasy retelling. Hemlock by Melissa Falaveno. A woman haunted by a dark inheritance returns to the woods where her mother vanished. And Kaylee Reed's A Sacred Space Between. Hachette did not do as many giveaways as they did at San Diego because people at San Diego were so aggressive and rude that they decided to pull back. So again, be nice or we're gonna lose all of this, people. Come on, just be nice. HarperCollins was back with a full booth this time, not just like a little small booth. This was a full booth with photo ops and shelf space and all this. It was a really pretty booth, and so I was so happy to have them back. They did giveaways a couple days of the week where you got in line and they gave you a ticket with which was a picture of all the books that they were offering, and you would, when you presented that, you would pick one. But they did allow that if you got one, then you could go to the end of the line again and try again. So I did that a few times. Whoops, not sorry. And I don't remember which days are which anymore because it's all a blur. So I'm just gonna go through what they all are. And so I got an arc of Starshipped by Kat Sebastian, Red as Royal Blood by Elizabeth Hart, The Astral Library by Kate Quinn, I Could Give You the Moon by Anne Liang, As Many Souls as Stars by Natasha Siegel, George Falls Through Time by Ryan Collette, and probably the one I'm most excited about for this whole shebang, The Fundamentals of Being a Good Girl by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. This made me so happy. Harper also had a few code words throughout the weekend, and I failed to get to any of them because by the time I got over there, like, people were just camping out. They said what time they were going to drop some of the code words and people were camping out. So I just gave up. However, someone did post that they were looking to trade in the group, and so I offered to trade, and then they already had that one, but then right before they left, they were just like, here, take it. So I got A War of Wyverns by S.F. Williamson, which is a sequel to one I got last year. It's The Language of Dragons, which somewhere in that, yeah, right there in the gold. Now let's talk about Macmillan. I didn't spend as much time at the Macmillan booth as I usually do. Part of that is because I know they're going to be at Y'all Fest in like a couple weeks. So I know that they're going to have a lot of the same ones there. A lot of the drops were at times that I just couldn't get over there. So, or people were already camped out and I was just like, that's plenty. Because they weren't doing a whole ton of copies. On day one of the ones that I did try really hard to get is Clara and the Devil by Olive E. Blake, because she told me about this. We talked about this on Literary Hype podcast a year, almost exactly a full year before it was officially announced. So if you're watching the podcast, you're going to get tea. And that tea is books that are coming. So First Second is the like kids and teens, and 23rd Street Books is the adults. So this is one of the first books to come out from 23rd Street Books, which I also have an interview with the publisher of that. So check that out. But this is a graphic novel that she's doing, and there's a lot more information on that in the upcoming podcast with Olivie. I also got in line because one of my friends' books was being given away, and so I had to get my hands on a copy of Becca Coffindaffer's next book. However, I secured the goods on Thursday, and then my husband texted me Thursday night and was like, hey, you got book mail, and opened it and showed me a picture, and guess what was in there? This one. So this is not the book I got from New York. I did trade that one for the Oracle book because one of my friends was unable to, she was there, it was just they were only doing like 15 copies of each of the 2 books. So she did not make it into the line. So I traded with her so she could have it since I have another one. If you went to Veronica Roth's panel, then you got an early copy of Seek the Traitor's Son, which is her romantic dystopian fantasy that she's been working on for a long time. She said before she got to the finalized version, it was over 1 million words. So she's been working on this for a while. Very excited, and since she was there, I did get it signed. And then at one of the After Dark signings, when I was getting Seanan McGuire's book signed, I looked over and Bethany C. Morrow was there and she had 1 arc. And I was like, oh, I should see if she'll slide that to me. And before I could get over there, someone came up with a whole bag full of arcs. So I did get one, and that is for The Body. I did a panel with Kat Cho. She was on the Battle of the Tropes with me and Axio and Ngozi and Travis Baldry. It was such a good time. But they all had their books in front of them. And so Kat had Gods and Comics, which comes out in April, sitting in front of her. And I was like, I need to ask her for that. I was sitting there, literally the whole time thinking about how to nicely ask without being like, give me the book. But turns out I didn't need to, because as soon as the panel was over, she slid it over to me and said, that's for you. I love Kat anyway. And so for her to slide me a copy of her book made me so, so happy. It's like a webtoon comes to life in Korean mythology, and it sounds like so much fun, and I cannot wait for it. So this is another one that I'm like very high on my excitement list. And the last publisher booth that I visited was Blackstone, and so I got an arc of You Watched in Silence by H. Lee Justine, which is kind of, it's the bite of Jessica Knoll with the twists of Verity. So kind of psychological thriller horror vibes is what I'm getting from the back. So this was a pick up a ticket in the morning, come back later. There was another one that I was picking up the ticket for my friend and ended up getting one for myself, but then looked at the book later and was like, I don't know that I'd ever read this. So I went over to the BookCon booth where they had a shelf specifically for swapping books. So you could leave a book or 2, take a book or 2, and it was a really fun time. So I swapped, I don't even remember what it was. It was a horror book. I don't read that much horror, so I know I wasn't gonna get to it. But I swapped it out for a Christina Lauren book that I know I'll read. And before the show even started, the doors were not open and I already had a new book in my possession, and that is because there was a big push for content creators this year, and so one of the content creators was hiding books. That was Chelsea Reeds, and she left A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross up on the ledge right above where we were in line, and so my friend Stephanie spotted it, ran off, saw that it was one that Charity had, and came back and told me about it, and it was one that I don't believe I have, so I went up and got it myself. I have no self-control. Also at Blackstone, they were giving out some audiobook codes, so I got codes for The Sound and the Fury, No Gods, No Monsters, and Dark Space. And Simon Maverick was also giving out some audiobook codes in the form of bookmarks, so if you told them the genre that you were interested in, they would give you a bookmark, and they have 2 codes on the back. So mine are for The Night Prince and The Scars Within. And just when I thought I was done, I said I was done. I was out looking at other things. I was trying to behave. I even went home with the ticket still in my bag. I was trying to be good. But I was walking around by the webtoon booth and the guy said free books, and I said, what are the free books? And so he just gave me both of them and walked away. And so it's Viral Hit #1 and The God of High School by Youngji Park #1. If you said Strawberry Secrets to my friend Bethany over at Beautifully Bookish Bethany, then I got a bookmark and a sticker. She had a couple different stickers and some tote bags. My husband has asked me to stop getting tote bags because I have so many, so I did not take the tote bag. And I'm very proud of myself that I got all these books, but I did not get any more tote bags. So I did good at least on one front. So that means I came home with 86 physical books in my possession. 25 of those I took with me, and then there were the audiobooks and the headphones. So I had a really good year, even though I was saying I was gonna take it easy. I did beat my record by 5 books. Oops. Thanks to all of the publishers for these free books that they gave out at New York Comic Con, for taking the time to set up the booths and build these programs and have a schedule ready for us so that we can go and gather all these books. I appreciate it. I know other book lovers appreciate it, and I hope that you have enjoyed seeing what is possible at New York Comic Con, because it's a lot. I'm terrified of BookCon now. I'm terrified. It was rabid, so I'm terrified. It'll be fine. We're fine, right? We can behave at BookCon, right, guys? Okay, cool. If you enjoyed this book haul from New York Comic Con, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Literary Hype YouTube channel if you have not done so already, and share this with a friend. Click that bell, get the notifications whenever I post new content. There's a lot of new content coming, so definitely check that out. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.